Disney as a company wants one thing: to be the biggest and best entertainment conglomerate in the world. And they are very, very good at delivering on that promise, especially when it comes to their theme parks. From the second that Walt Disney set out to change how the public viewed amusement parks, they have been on a trajectory of upward mobility, pushing the envelope and creating visionary concepts. But what happens when execution fails to match ambition? You get crap. That's what happens. And even a company like Disney is bound to have some crap in their unflushed toilets. Also, there had to be like 12 other analogies that didn't involve toilets. DisneyQuest was one of those toilets, except in this case, DisneyQuest started life as one of those cool Japanese toilets that warms your butt, can diagnose health issues, and will connect to your Spotify to play the perfect mix as you do your business. You know, this toilet thing isn't really working out at all, even though I'm trying really, really hard to make it happen. You know what? Maybe I'll switch to a more direct method of storytelling. In the 90s, everything was extreme, and that included kids' entertainment centers. The leader in this space was Discovery Zone. Sure, you could take your kids to Chuck E. Cheese and have them stuff pizza into their faces while they develop gambling habits trying to get enough tickets for a pencil eraser shaped like that weird purple thing. What was that thing? Mr. Munch. I don't want kids anywhere near Mr. Munch. I'm fine with the rat pizza, but not Mr. Munch. And that stereotypical Italian pizza maker isn't really someone who should be allowed near children either. That's probably why there was a shift away from creepy, grease-covered animatronics and towards activity centers that relied more on physical play and less on kid casinos. It didn't take long for Disney to realize that these spots were making money that could be Disney's money. And that leads us to the creation of Disney Regional Entertainment. Founded in 1996, the House of Mouse was looking to insert themselves into the family entertainment center business. These new experiences could bring Disney out of its vacation destinations and into the communities where their fans lived, and they could do it for much cheaper than the cost of an average theme park. As the company started to dip their toes into these waters, virtual reality was also becoming a big fad, one that was being touted as the future of immersive storytelling in video games. Futurists were telling us that it would even be a huge part of our productivity and daily lives. It's crazy how these fads always seem to come back around. Back then, VR was much more clunky, and like arcades in the early 80s, the only way to truly experience the technology was to travel to sites that could accommodate the bulky and expensive gear needed to run it. That's where the idea of DisneyQuest was born. Conceived as a way to extend their storytelling beyond the traditional parks, the idea was to create an indoor venue where families could experience hands-on, immersive adventures. It was a place where kids and their parents could find edutainment through digital play, ride simulators, and interactive exhibits. We all know kids don't want to learn things, so you have to trick them into it. The best part, DisneyQuest could operate year-round, independent of weather. In fact, it would make more money whenever it rained or snowed or hurricaned or tornadoed or, I don't know, a volcano erupted, because outdoor parks wouldn't be able to compete during those times. Unless your kid enjoyed parks during blizzards, but you should probably get that kid a decent therapist. That's just a suggestion. The goal was to have a DisneyQuest in every major city and beyond, littering the world with these potential cash cows. They opened their first location in Orlando in 1998, followed by a Chicago location in 1999. Both DQs, I think that's copyrighted by Dairy Queen. I guess I can't shorten it. Both DisneyQuests were initially met with excitement, but unlike its Orlando counterpart, the Chicago attraction struggled with high costs and low attendance. It closed in 2001. Back in Orlando, proximity to the parks and its downtown Disney location led to better success with its unique assortment of virtual reality, arcade, and creative activities. It was a great place to take the kids during resort days away from the main parks. But as home consoles and VR technology began to advance rapidly, DisneyQuest's attractions struggled to keep up and quickly became outdated. Innovation was the key promise of DisneyQuest, and it was a promise that was impossible to meet. The old downtown Disney was reborn as Disney Springs, and the need to modernize the shopping and dining district meant that old and outdated needed to be punted for something better. In 2017, DisneyQuest was closed for good, but the something better that replaced it was the NBA experience, which, wasn't exactly a slam dunk. I wonder if it too is on this list of failures. DisneyQuest proved that not everything they produce is a golden ticket. Sometimes it's just straight crap. These are the Disney projects that completely failed. Disney's America. In the early 1990s, Michael Eisner wanted to expand Disney beyond Florida and California as part of his plan he called the Disney Decade. This included the project that would eventually be known as Euro Disney, now known simply as Disneyland Paris. But that park wasn't exactly a slam dunk either. I think it had something to do with Mickey Mouse constantly pulling off his head for a leisurely smoke. Or maybe the fact that it was hemorrhaging money, one or the other. So Eisner decides to pivot back to the US expansion and develop smaller parks domestically. During a trip to Colonial Williamsburg, Eisner and his partner Frank Wells strike inspiration. What if Disney did their own Colonial Williamsburg? A history-themed Disney park. And that's when Disney's America was born. Now, let me stop here and just ruminate for a second. Was there no one concerned with the vanity of being inspired by actual historical sites and then deciding to brand the hell out of it? And not like Disney's Historical Journey or Disney's Magical Colony. They had the nerve to call it Disney's America. I mean, choices were being made. There's probably some parallels that could be made to current events, but that's not this video. Eisner busts out the Walt Disney Florida Project playbook and, despite not even really knowing what the park would be beyond some sort of celebration of democracy and the birth of the nation, starts secretly buying up land in Northern Virginia near DC. He even used shell corporations so that no one would realize who was really behind the property investments. In November 1993, Disney finally announces that they're going to open Disney's America and that the site of the project is going to sit right next to the Manassas battlefield. You know, the place where like thousands of people died during the American Civil War. Classic. I was living nearby at the time and, well, I was really excited about it, but I was 16 and wanted to be within driving distance of a Disney park and wasn't nearly as aware of the optics involved. It was the 90s, like I didn't know any better. But what were the plans for this park? Guests would arrive at Crossroads, USA, a pre-Civil War village that would be the hub of the park. The land would have featured an attraction called The Muppets Take America, and I'm totally here for it. But, oh wait, this can't be right. Something themed to Alex Haley's famous novel Roots? What? So we're just going to tackle the American slavery issue right there in the hub? Okay, but like, are you sure you don't want to wait until a little deeper into the park? Like maybe after the kids have had a corn dog and a churro, perhaps? Weird choice, but okay. When your family was finished facing one of the most raw and complicated historical issues, you could head into the other sections of the park, like a recreation of a Native American village. And OMG, what the hell are you doing, Disney? Guests would enjoy interactive experiences and exhibits that would make you, I don't know, I guess, contemplate your role in ethnic genocide? I'm sure Disney had more magical verbiage than that, but there'd also be a whitewater raft ride that was going to be based on the Lewis and Clark expedition, but honestly, I would have preferred an attraction based on Lois and Clark, the old Superman TV show. That's why they don't ask me for my opinion. President Square would have either replicated or relocated versions of the Hall of Presidents and the American Adventure, so they could have just been honest and called this section Napland, because that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to take a nap every time I visit there. Civil War Fort was a Civil War fort with replica battlegrounds and historical reenactments. You know, I'm sure the kids would love to see those war surgeon animatronics removing limbs with a bone saw. Think about the souvenirs in that gift shop. Just, here's a leg. Man-made Freedom Bay would feature the battle between the Monitor and the Merrimack, billed as a thrilling nighttime spectacular based on the historical skirmish of the Ironclads. You know the one, where the cannonballs bashed into the iron armor of both boats until the sailors bled from their ears. Anyway, here, enjoy some fireworks. The whole park was pitched as an immersive, educational, yet still fun look at U.S. history, which sounds noble until you realize the concept art included things like Civil War land and slavery exhibits. Because nothing says family vacation like riding a log flume through Reconstruction. The rest of the park featured the Industrial Revolution Ellis Island, a Midwest state fair, a farm, which I guess was just a farm with barns and chickens or something. Oh, and a World War II airfield. During a press conference, Senior VP of Imagineering Bob Weiss said, "This will be entertaining in the sense that it would leave you something you could mull over. We want to make you a Civil War soldier. We want to make you feel what it was like to be a slave or what it was like to escape through the Underground Railroad." Yeah, that should sell a ton of Mickey ice cream bars. So how did the public react? The locals hated the idea, specifically the idea that Disney was going to clog the area with increased traffic. And if you've ever lived in Northern Virginia, increased traffic is incomprehensible compared to the already congested region. The Washington Post begins a ton of coverage, taking the story to a wider national stage. Historians get involved. A group called Protect Historic America launches with the goal of painting Disney as irresponsible, unable to represent American history and especially the more sensitive parts of the American journey without Disneyfying the whole affair. Congress even gets involved, holding hearings about the validity of the proposed development. In 1994, Disney gives up, announcing that they were withdrawing from the Virginia location. So, we almost got a crazy Disney park based on American history, warts and all. Kind of feels like we all dodged a bullet there. Although, we all know that the second Disney's America wasn't profitable, we'd suddenly see the company shoehorn Mickey's Toontown into our country's backstory. And I'll be honest, I'd probably be okay with that. Pleasure Island. Let's go back, all the way back to the 1980s. Disney knew the value of keeping their guests within their bubble. Multiple theme parks, hotels, restaurants, shopping. There really was no reason to leave Disney property. Unless you wanted to enjoy some adult nightlife, not like what you're thinking. Like drinks and dancing. You get your heads out of the gutter, it's not that. Michael Eisner was getting tired of seeing adults taking their money to other areas of Orlando when they wanted to go bar hopping and decided to do something about it. That something was to develop a nighttime area that would cater to these visitors in the Lake Buena Vista shopping district. That area would be Pleasure Island. And in true Disney style, they even gave it a complicated backstory that is far too confusing for me to recap here. Like, go look it up. But, wait till the end of the video. I don't know why I'm always tanking my watch time by telling you guys to go do other things. In August of 1986, they started construction, and in 1989, Pleasure Island opened to visitors. The clubs included Mannequins, a dance club that was, it was probably based on the movie Mannequin. I just made that up. Let me see what the actual story is. Okay, so Mannequins Dance Club had live mannequins that would pose and dance on elevated platforms. So basically, I think that is the plot of the movie Mannequin. To be fair, I'm just making all this up because I have no idea what the plot to Mannequin involves. I'm not IMDb. Go to IMDb. The Comedy Warehouse had improv performers who would occasionally perform parodies of Disney parks and films. Cool. Sounds like they gave the Jungle Cruise skippers their own nightclub, which I highly approve of. Neon Armadillo Music Saloon played both types of music, country and western. Videopolis East was the Disney World equivalent to Disneyland's teen nightclub. It was rebranded to The Cage in 1990 and then closed because it just sounds like Disney was keeping teenagers in cages by that point. XZFR Rock and Roller Dome, that's a weird name, featured rock and roller skating. It just sounds like the setting of some sort of futuristic battle sport, so no way could that have been super popular. But then, there was the Adventurers Club. It was a highly immersive, interactive club styled as a 1930s British explorer's lodge. It had a cast of improv actors who played a variety of characters that would mingle with patrons and suck them into the story of the club. Guests could even be recruited as new members to become a part of the living story that the club would weave night after night. There were puppets and animatronics, and even a room full of talking masks. It was exactly the kind of club experience you would expect coming from Disney Imagineering. And it's not surprising that one of the men responsible for creating the Adventurers Club was none other than the legendary Imagineer, Joe Rohde. It was one of the first attempts by Disney to fully immerse guests into an interactive story and lives on today as the prototype for both Disney and Universal concepts such as Universal's Horror Unleashed and the Star Wars Galactic Star Cruiser. In 2004, Disney stopped charging a single admission fee to Pleasure Island and started charging for each individual club. that dramatically decreased the island's revenue, even though the area was getting increased foot traffic. Removal of the gate fee also attracted more locals and teenage crowds, which led to an increase in overall bad drunken behavior that wasn't really something Disney enjoys historically. It also didn't help that by this time, Pleasure Island was seeing increased competition from Universal City Walk and even their own boardwalk attached to the Epcot resorts. It's way easier to stumble back to your hotel room if it's actually attached to the bars that have been over-serving you for the past 12 hours. That's how long people generally spend drinking, right? Like 12 hours? Am I just an overachiever? By 2007, most of the clubs weren't profitable, and the nightlife district was becoming less and less lucrative for Disney. They'd also been increasingly heading towards a third-party business model where businesses would pay a hefty rental rate for space. Add to that the fact that there were a ton of detractors who felt that drinking and partying never fully aligned with Disney's family-friendly brand. But those people were probably never invited to parties, so what do they know? Nerds. Disney announced the closure of the clubs in 2008 with no real plan to replace it. In 2010, they announced Hyperion Wharf, but those plans were ultimately scrapped during the recession. While the nightclubs are gone, the grounds where they once sat is now redeveloped as the landing section of Disney Springs. So ultimately, this one has a happy ending since there are many people, or maybe it's just me, that considers Disney Springs to be their 5th theme park. I seriously love Disney Springs. But one thing does surprise me. Why haven't they made an attempt at a revamped Adventurers Club? Think of the possibilities. And I have the perfect spot for it. Close that worthless Planet Hollywood and give us something that doesn't suck. Seriously. And while I'm at it, Universal, you can feel free to close that Hard Rock Cafe also. And Margaritaville. Actually, Universal, if you want to just close all of the City Walk restaurants, I'm totally fine with it. I did not expect to end this entry on a rant, but here we are. The NBA experience. When DisneyQuest was earmarked for closure and destruction, Disney decided to replace it with something memorable. Something with a broad appeal. An attraction that would blow people away with its next-gen technology and storytelling. I'm joking. They used that space to fulfill contractual obligations so that they could make more money in a medium unrelated to the theme parks. You see, Disney, through ABC and ESPN, had been partnering with the NBA for years. In 2014, they signed a massive 9-year, $24 billion expansion that gave Disney exclusive rights to the NBA Finals, the NBA Draft, and extensive regular season playoff coverage on ESPN. The financial backbone of this partnership had always been this massive media rights deal. The NBA Experience was a small but symbolic part of this much larger and significantly more lucrative partnership between Disney and the NBA. The attraction was a mutual effort to expand the relationship beyond just television rights and into a physical space. The NBA wanted to create an immersive, hands-on experience for fans of all ages, and Disney wanted to keep making money. Oh, and they also had a giant DisneyQuest-sized hole in Disney Springs. While Disney Imagineering created and designed the space, while the NBA handled the branding and, I guess, told them how basketballs went through that hoop. I don't know. I don't know much about sports. The giant commercial of an attraction sought to place guests in the middle of the NBA with 13 different attractions spread out among 2 floors. The entrance set out to immerse players in the simulation of walking through a player's tunnel and out onto a professional court. From there, you could participate in a slam dunk challenge, show off your shooting skills, or even participate in a simulated draft where you heard your name announced as you walked on stage. That sounds amazing. Was I convincing when I tried to sell that just now? There was a flurry of initial interest, but that was probably just the usual Disney influencer pop that these things get because right from the start, the NBA experience failed to attract the wider audience needed to be successful in that space. The reason it didn't attract a wider audience? Because you made a niche experience that only caters to basketball fans. At least put Anna and Elsa in team jerseys or something. The activities were uninspiring and had low replayability. The photo experiences featured issues linked to My Disney Experience because, let's face it, sounds like some unreliable MDE issues. And compared to the mostly free offerings of Disney Springs, the NBA Experience cost $34 for what amounted to around an hour or 2 of entertainment. Wait, when did it open? August of 2019? Feels like something big happened a few months later. Oh yeah, it had to close down in March of 2020 due to the coronavirus. On August 16th, 2021, Disney and the NBA decided that it would remain closed permanently. After 7 months of actual operation, the NBA experience was no more. The pandemic became a convenient and face-saving reason to remove the poorly performing attraction from their active roster and send it to the locker room for good. So there you have it. A bunch of times where Disney took a big swing and failed to connect with their fans. But Disney fails because they try. Every one of these projects started from a place of imagination, and even when they bomb, Disney learns and adapts. The DNA of these failures will live on in something else later down the road. Possibly something magical. Hey, maybe even an attraction that becomes one of your favorite experiences. And when you exit, you look back and you wonder, did that idea come from the Adventurers Club? Or the VR attractions of DisneyQuest? Or maybe even Disney's America? Well, there's little chance that it came from Disney's America. Did they honestly think tackling slavery during a family vacation was a great idea? Oh, the hubris of Disney. Hey! That should be their next attraction. The hubris of Disney. An interactive dark ride experience. Just full of hubris.